Oh no, Mitch. Come on, dude. Look, I get the point that you're trying to make. It is not an invalid point. But the choice of words, dude. Come on. Spittin' Chicklets had the tweet. Everybody else has the tweet. This is literally just the first one that popped up here. 878,000 views. Everybody is talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and their exit interviews. And when it comes to Mitch Marner, this is what he said on what it means to be a Leaf. It means the world. Obviously, we're looked upon as, kind of gods here, to be honest. And the social media reaction to this one quote has been pretty interesting. Now, of course, you can understand what he means, right? Like, Mitch Marner isn't wrong by saying that players on the Toronto Maple Leafs, especially the variety that are paid $11 million, they're seen as pretty important figures in this city. Like, you can be an athlete, you can be a movie star, you can be whomever, but whatever it is, the hockey players on the Toronto Maple Leafs hold some sort of moral, let's just say, overview of the cultural relevance in that area. And calling yourself a god may not be, like, the most wrong thing in terms of how people, like, always pay attention to you and how they always kind of talk about you. But the choice of words here, dude. Let's go out there and look at some of the replies to this, because seriously, it was posted on the Reddit, and some of these had me cracking up. We're more popular than Jesus, John Lennon, and Mitch Marner. Like, that's the first thing that popped up over here. The old Beatles quote where Lennon said that same thing decades and decades ago, and it got a lot of people just kind of, ruffled up back then. Same thing you could say is happening now. This was hilarious. Gods don't have to choose. We take. The old Willem Dafoe Spider-Man quote, bro. That is crazy. Strong enough to have it all. Too weak to take it. That is nuts, bro. Like, I saw this and I was like, I have to talk about that. I want to get my Dafoe impression in there. It's not good, Jamie Foxx does a better one, but still, this is kind of funny. Really, really funny stuff. A lot of people are going to take his quotes out of context or without watching the full interview, because the individual quotes like this one are really, really bad. But after watching the full clip and Austin's interview, it came across to me a lot more as someone who is extremely emotional and realizing that this is it for him with his childhood team more than anything else. He comes across as distraught more than he comes across as cocky. I think he's waving his no move. I don't think he is coming back. This reply goes out there and kind of, do I want to say diagnoses what's going on here? Mitch Marner is not the most articulate guy, and I can imagine it's harder for him when he's needing to express himself in front of reporters, leading to these frequent mishaps and quotes that sound pretty bad when taken out of context. The other thing here is that so many young prospects and players in the league who grew up in Toronto grew up idolizing Mitch. Off the top of my head, I've seen both Easton Cowan and Wyatt Johnson say that he was their favorite player growing up. I know there's more, I just don't have the names on me right now. They grew up loving the Leafs and loving the local boy who was a star player for the Leafs. He knows that, and I'm sure that it's weighing on him heavily right now. It just came to mind for me after watching his media availability today. And this is also, something that I think we should talk about as well. Marner kind of sucks at interviews. Not in terms of giving the media a quote. Like, he gives crazy quotes. This is a crazy quote. This is going to be on the headlines. You had the Toronto Sun calling Marner the Invisible Man. Like, you have all of this pressure put on the guy, and then he's like, yeah, no, we're kind of seen as gods. We're more popular than Jesus. Okay, no, that's the John Lennon thing, but you can say this in a better way. You can say this in a way that is not going to be clipped and unintentionally made to vilify you, because, with this by itself, it looks like you are the most pretentious POS on the planet. But at the same time, we have to recognize Marner does not really have the best words to articulate a lot of things. And when it comes to these comments, I mean, this is just kind of one of many situations where Marner's comments go kind of viral on social media. They get 1 million views, and everybody's talking about that. Like, someone get this kid media training. He meant fraud. Fraud, not God. We're kind of looked at as frauds here, to be honest. Yo, that's not incorrect, bro. Ay. Yeah, then there's a lot of stuff talking about other things, but if they're gods, why can Nylander ride the subway unbothered to the games? That's kind of funny, too. Mitch, this guy needs media training, dude. Either that or, you know, you just got to go to Utah. Head over to Utah where the pressure's not going to be like this, where you're not going to be looked at as gods, and you can just live your life in peace. Nobody's going to be sending out hit pieces on you on the radio or the newspaper. Nobody's going to be, you know, commenting on your Instagram. Okay, maybe Toronto fans might do that because, you know, not everybody is a clean whistle. Stop doing that, by the way. Don't go onto players' Instagram pages and start, you know, lambasting them in the comment section of that. Let's go back over here and read some of these extra points because I do think they are interesting to acknowledge. On the 8th day, okay, that's funny. What a wild, tone-deaf quote. 100% of both of these, so it will be blown out of proportion, but it is also not really the right thing to say. Two things can be right. One, Mitch is a terrible interview. He says dumb things, and he really doesn't think about what he says before he speaks. This is still extremely tone-deaf. And two, Marner is also the target of people's frustration, and it's going to get piled on more than it needs to. Yeah, I mean, we're making this video right here, and based off of the views of all the other ones, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a lot of people going out there and talk about Marner in the comments of this video too. It's just kind of, you know, clockwork at this point. He's had a few of these mishaps, one you shouldn't really make if you're a player of his pay rate and stature. And yeah, no, I have to agree with that here too. With great power comes great responsibility. Not to bring it all the way back to Spider-Man over here, but like, this is kind of a thing that you need to think about when you are a player making as much money as Marner is, and when you are, quote-unquote, seen as a god. If you're in this position, why are you just talking irresponsibly like that? It's not really the best look here. Even the folks on the R Maple Leaf subreddit, this guy is a bad quote machine, just bad quotes after bad quotes. Honestly, I feel bad for the guy, like everything that comes out of his mouth is just a mess. I know what he was meaning here, but I laughed when he said it. It's just, read the room, buddy. Well, I can't possibly see this going the wrong way. Rule number 1 of PR, don't compare yourself to God. Yeah, that's, you know, it is what it is. So, we'll wrap this video up with one more thought here. I wanted to bring this one up because it kind of goes out there and brings it up to a more holistic conversation. I'll preface this by saying I understand that Mitch hasn't nearly been good enough, both production-wise and effort-wise in the playoffs. However, it's the reaction to quotes like these that make me understand why it can be such a nightmare to play in Toronto. A very positive, self-aware quote showing he understands the privilege of playing in the market, and the reaction is for someone to pretend that they don't understand what he's saying and that he's somehow being cocky. You literally cannot win. A lot of the same people moan and complain when he doesn't speak. So it is really a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, but at the same time, I will acknowledge there's a better way to say this. There's a better way to make this point. There's a better way to say, yeah, it means the world. We have privilege here. We are seen, and we are known, and we are talked about. We are figures in this community. Rather than just saying, you know, we're kind of seen as gods. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Mitch Marner, John Lennon, Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin thing, how everything has boiled over into this, and how Marner is making his life a lot worse by making dumb quotes like these. I'm not gonna shy away from saying what I'm saying because he really made it worse. This is bad. This is not really the right thing to go out there and say. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Mitch Marner. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to listen to the video, I guess. I mean, you probably have already. The regular TSN quote had 700,000 views, and the Spit and Chicklets retweet had 800,000 views. A lot of people have seen this already, but link is going to be in the description either way. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.